So I just thank God for giving me the encouragement to go ahead and write this book, because I think this book can really help those that are struggling.
All right, we are here today with Reverend Elizabeth McCoy. If you follow Just Love in Person, you already have been introduced to Reverend McCoy during our 2020 Her Story in the Making series. But she has written a book entitled God's Wisdom from Biblical Women to African American Women. And so we want to talk about your book. We want to see what's new in your life. We also want to ask you about the recent trials that we've all been through during this pandemic and get your wisdom on those issues and just really have a short conversation with you today. So, Reverend McCoy, the first thing we want to know is a little bit of background information for those who may not have seen your story in our Her Story in the Making series. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. As you say, I am Reverend Elizabeth Pettiford McCoy, and I was born here in Person County. My parents are the late Clarence and Geneva Blackwell Pettiford, and I grew up right in this community, the community of Lawson Chapel. And I attend Lawson Chapel. I'm an associate minister there, and I work as the church clerk. I am a mother and a grandmother of 3 and a great-grandmother of 3, and those babies have my heart. Also, I'm retired. I'm a retired school counselor, and I worked in Granville County and in Person County. I believe in education. I started right here in Person County at Piedmont Community College. I received an associate degree. I went from there to Avery, and I received a bachelor's degree. Left there, went to North Carolina Central, and I earned a master's in school counseling. And then I also attended Apex School of Theology, and I got my master's degree at Cedars of Lebanon Bible College and Theological Seminary. I'm very active in the Person County Ministerial Alliance. I am the corresponding secretary. I am a member of the Person County Prayer Warriors. I am Roxborough alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta member in charge of the Social Action Committee. I am a member of Cedars of Lebanon Ministries. And from the state, from the General Baptist, I am a member of the executive board of the Women Baptist Home and Foreign Missionaries. And just started recently in the Christian Coalition to End Poverty, where I hope to be using my biblical counseling degree.
Okay. So we can get into your recent work. You just wrote a book. We already mentioned the title, but I'll read the back of the book to see what it says about this undertaking.
Okay.
It says, God's Wisdom from Biblical Women to African American Women is a religious book discussing women of all ages, cultures, nationalities, and generations who sought God's revelation through His Word, the Holy Bible. These women believed, trusted, and had continuous faith that the Lord will see them through any incurred diversity of life. This empowered faith offered words of wisdom and assistance for these women to trust and have confidence in God. It talks of giants these women faced daily and how to defeat them. These women include women of the Old Testament, the New Testament, African American firsts, the Yes We Still Can women of the Obama era, and more distinguished women of today who have made a difference in today's society. So the first thing we want to know is, what prompted you to write a book?
Well, I've had professors at Central to tell me that my words needed to be in a book. But the real reason I wrote this is because I I completed my master's in divinity and wrote a thesis. And the name of my thesis was A Comparative Study of Sisters of Faith, African American Women versus the Biblical Women. And so in doing so, the Lord kept fueling me with information and information. I would start typing like at 6 p.m. and when I look up, it's daytime, 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm still typing. He gave me so much to put into this book. And I love studying the women of the Bible and their successes. And I love, now it's an era of women anyway. Women are just doing their thing. And I am just so proud and so glad about it. They are phenomenal. And so I wanted to talk about them. And my professors had said that I had so much information, it was really too much for the thesis. And they encouraged me to go ahead and write the book. So I did. I started writing on the book, and the Lord kept giving me more information. And initially, I wasn't going to talk about these 132 women. I was just going to talk about the women in the Bible. And then the Lord kept fueling me. And then I said, well, I need to add in Coretta Scott King and Mary McLeod Bethune and Rosa Parks, Sojourner Truth, and all of these women. I even wrote about Eva Clayton. I know you all can remember Eva Clayton because she did so many things and still doing so many things. Harriet Tubman, and I compared her to Esther in the Bible. Esther, who saved the Jews, saved her people. Harriet Tubman saved her people. Then and Rosa Parks also could be compared to Deborah, that warrior, that powerful warrior. She was out there. And Coretta Scott King, who you could compare to Noah's wife, who was by her husband, supporting them 100% and just giving her all to make sure that Dr. Martin Luther King did what he did, and she just supported him. In every walk of life, she was there with him, and even actually physically walking and marching with him. So, it's a lot to say about our women. Our Vice President, Kamala Harris, and at the time I was writing the book, she had not been named vice president, but it was coming to that point. Oprah Winfrey, you know how Oprah was. She was just giving and doing and blessing people all the time. And then Michelle Obama, you know about that first lady. She was just so graceful, And then I talked about people that the younger folks would like Beyonce and Gabby Douglas, Simone Biles, who they just talked about. She was on the news yesterday, where she has learned some more of gymnastic tricks and things that no other person has done. So, it's powerful. And Shirley Fry, she's from Greensboro, and she's Judge Henry Fry, who was on the Supreme Court of North Carolina. And, well, his wife, that was a powerful couple. That was a power couple, I should say. And she had the YMCA in Greensboro named after her. Her name is on the building, and it's just, I talked about Mae Jemison, the astronaut. And I talked about Vanessa Williams and Ava DuVernay, all those wonderful films. And Bishop Vashti Murphy McKenzie, she's the national chaplain for Delta Sigma Theta in Washington, and she's done quite a bit. Condoleezza Rice, Shirley Caesar, who lives in Durham and travel all over the place. I have there's a summary in this book, and I want to read just a little bit of it, if that's okay. God's wisdom from biblical women to African American women covers a mirage of women drawn from the lives of these timeless biblical women and African American women throughout history. People can learn from them how to live faithfully in a fallen world. All women must learn to turn to the scriptures, delight themselves in his glory and God's holy word. They need to rely, depend, and lean on the Lord. Nothing is too hard for leaders to face if they depend on God's wisdom. God remains in total control of all things. And in 2 Timothy 1:7 says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." That verse I put on the front cover of my book because I believe in it wholeheartedly. So praise the Lord for God's goodness and his mercy, because if you call on his name, he will be there to help you. He will.